Hello, my name is Greg Bernard. I am an IT security professional. I want to welcome you to my new podcast, episode 1 of Don't Get Breached, Get Teached. I might have to work on that title. First shot at it. We'll see how it rolls with you out there. But yeah, like I said, I am an IT security professional, and I've been in this business for over 20 years, so I'm dating myself there. I've been customer facing for that over 20 years as well, just working with customers as a consultant, helping them build, mature, and maintain their IT security program, as well as been on the IT security sales side, so working with different vendors providing IT security solutions and services. So that's my background. I have a ton of experience on a ton of different products, ranging from EDR to SIM to MDR, managed detection and response, to compliance programs, identity and access management, vulnerability management, and I could go on and on and on. Network security, pen testing, but I'll stop there. You get the idea. I've been doing this 20 years. I've been around, worked for several different companies. What I want to do with this podcast is just hopefully reach a few people and more, as many as I can actually, just to give back. Share my knowledge, share my experience. Maybe it helps a few people on the way. Start some discussions, right? Please leave comments and feedback on my podcast, and I'll respond. I'm not doing this for any other reason than just to give back. That's all I'm doing. So today I want to focus on 2 items. One is I'm going to talk about the current landscape out there in IT security. And 2, I'm going to talk about how businesses should best vet their security vendors when looking for IT security services and solutions. So let's start with the current landscape out there with IT security. So we are 3.5 years away, removed from COVID. And we're seeing the ripple effects of that all over the place, but I'm going to focus on the ripple effects in the IT security world. So we went from almost within a week of normalcy in the business world to hit the brakes. Everybody's got to be remote and working from home. So that was the first big wow, to the IT security world, because one, it kind of evened out as far as how it affected IT security vendors. Because yes, there was a huge hit to the economy, and businesses, weren't making as much because consumers weren't spending as much, and therefore that hit the IT security budgets pretty hard. However, what helped that was that moving to remote. And I want to stop real quick and just talk about, before I get into that more, what does an IT security professional, what do we do as IT security professionals? Like basics, right? Basics. It is simple. I know it's, and I think what happens is we make it complicated, and it can get complicated. But I think if the simpler we start out with in creating an IT security program, maturing it and maintaining it, the simpler we start out, the less complicated we start out, the easier it's going to be, the less complicated it will be. And so here's just basic understanding of what we do in IT security as a professional. We do the following. We protect the confidentiality of customer data, right? Simple. We protect the integrity of that data, meaning we make sure that that data can be trusted. It hasn't been maliciously edited or changed or deleted. And we protect the availability of the systems and applications that give us access to that data. Those are the 3 pillars of the IT security world, right? Confidentiality of our data, integrity of our data, and availability of our systems. It's that simple. If we just focus on those things, right, at the beginning, that's what we're trying to do, and kind of to take a risk-based approach of what risks affect confidentiality, integrity, availability, that's going to make life so much simpler as you start, mature, and maintain your security program. So as I was saying briefly about, everybody went remote. So what helped the security vendor industry was now there was all that work trying to figure out how to protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of businesses now widening their surface area of attack from attackers, with all of their people from being all over the place, different locations instead of just one location at at their business. So how that ripples now is we're seeing now more that's kind of been figured out, right? We're now 3.5 years removed from when COVID started. We're back to a sense of normalcy. People are back to work in the office. People, we figured out how to secure their business, protect CIA, confidentiality, and integrity. Working from home, working in the office, or hybrid. So we got that figured out, right? So that business has kind of trickled down because we've helped businesses get there, figure it out. And now we've seen, the effect of the economy on businesses, their budgets, their IT security budgets, and now the IT security vendors are feeling the heat on that, feeling the effect on that, because there's been a lot of layoffs over the last year. Me being one of those layoffs twice. I was laid off from a IT security managed detection and response organization in November of last year. I got another role with a network detection and response company in January and was laid off just recently in August last month. So we're seeing the effects of that, lots of layoffs. Now, the good news is that I've seen in the industry research, is that the layoffs have kind of plateaued now. It's plateaued in the IT security world, hopefully, that's what they're saying. So now companies are starting to rehire because they've figured out, how to navigate this world and how to provide value better to organizations. So for people like me and anybody else out there that got affected by this and have been laid off, hopefully good times are coming. We can all get a job and move back on with our lives, right? I desperately want to get back into doing good for organizations and people out there, because I love this. I love doing IT security. That's why I'm doing this podcast. It's fun. It really inspires me. I'm very passionate about it. But so I think that's what we're seeing now, right, today in the IT security world. Vendors are very competitive, fighting for those IT security budgets with the customers or prospective customers they're going after. And I think it's going to be like that for a while. You'll see probably, the competition is going to weed players out, combine players through acquisition and mergers. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of years. But it'll be interesting. Hopefully we'll get back to some normalcy in the economy. And, we need, it's a necessary evil that we need IT security because there are bad people out there doing bad things on the internet. So unfortunately, but we are uniting, I think. If you ever listen to or see or read about Jen Easterly, who is the head of CISA, the government organization that is in charge of security for the government. She's doing a great job at trying to get the partnership of the government and the civilian world together to help share information and fight cybercrime. Right. So I think she's doing an amazing job, and I'm just one of many who wants to kind of help in that effort. So that's where we are today in IT security in the landscape, right? And now quickly, I got a couple minutes just to talk about you as an organization. When you're looking at IT security solutions and services, how do you vet the vendors? What's the best way? Well, I just have a couple of ideas on that because I'm on the other side. I'm on the other side of this is when I'm talking to customers and trying to help them, protect their confidentiality, integrity, and availability in certain, depending on what solution or services I'm offering at the time, right? And so I'm trying to show that value. I'm trying to understand what they are looking for, where their pain points are. That's where I want to focus, right? Number one, when you're vetting an IT security vendor, from the very first conversation, from the hello, how are you, start vetting that person and anybody else that's with them that's in front of you or on a Zoom call or whatever. Vet their genuineness. Are they genuinely concerned with you and your organization and your needs, rather than just pitching products and services? Are they asking questions? Are they digging deep into, you're trying to understand your business and your environment and what your business goals are and what your risks are? They should be listening 90%, and maybe they should be listening 80% in the ongoing and talking 20%, because they need to be partnering with you to understand your environment, educate themselves on your environment, because you're unique, your business is like no other, so that they can understand and properly help you with whatever solutions, services they are offering to protect your confidentiality, integrity, and availability. They need to be showing you the value that they're going to bring to you, the return on investment that you're going to see from their services or solutions, and how it's going to solve problems that you're facing today. So make sure you're vetting those people, not just the salesperson and the sales engineer, but also make sure you bring other people in from the vendor side, the product team, to see where they're going with their roadmap of the product. Is it going to fit what you're looking for in a product? The business leaders of that vendor, to see how the company's health is and what their ultimate goal is, and how their customer success program works. Because customer success should start for you, right? The vendor should be providing that day one, the first conversation, like I said, on that sales call. Day one, they should be providing that by understanding your environment, helping you understand the solution that fits that environment, all the way through the sales cycle, all the way through implementation until you're up and running on their solution or service, and ongoing, right? You want to make sure that customer success, you're set up for success all the way through that, right? And the companies that do that really, really well are the companies that succeed, because they're listening to customers. They're trying to figure out how their products and services are helping customers, what they need to do to change their products and services to help customers better, and keeping the customer informed of what they're doing, and being very, what's the word I'm looking for lack of a better word, being there every time the customer needs you, right? To solve problems, being there. So that's number one, that's kind of how a few of the things that starting the discussion out on how to vet security vendors, right? Make sure that they can prove their claims that they're saying about the product and services through other customer stories that they've helped, through references. Make sure you get references. So these are a few things you should think about when vetting security vendors. I hope that helps a little bit. Recap. We talked about the security landscape today. We talked about how we went from COVID starting, mass, remote, going from on-prem to remote, and figuring that out, how that has affected today's world in IT security. Budgets are tight, and there's the IT security vendor world is changing. The competition is stiffening because of those tight budgets. And we're going to see rippling effects going forward, and we'll have to see how that works out. Right, it's going to be interesting. And then we talked about you as a business, how do you vet the security vendors that you're looking to do business with? Again, making sure that they're there for you. They're looking out for your success from day one, continuing until that partnership ends. Right. So that's pretty much what I kind of wanted to throw out there as a starter podcast. I hope this reaches one or more people. Start a discussion, comment, leave feedback, I'm just trying to throw this stuff out there and see what happens, see what sticks, right? But I'm open to new ideas. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you think about the cybersecurity landscape today. Let me know what you think about vetting security vendors. Let me know what other topics are important to you, and I'll try to hit those on a future podcast. Again, this is Greg Bernard. Don't get breached, get teached. Have a great day.